Here's an interesting question. I don't know if it's supposed to be sort of a um, shot in the face or not, but like I said earlier, I give Cincinnati a lot of credit. I think Fickle's a great head coach. He's going to go on to do great things at bigger and better schools overall. But in reality, this is a Notre Dame. This is a game that Notre Dame should have won, and I think that they would have won if Drew Pine started. And that doesn't take anything away from Cincinnati. They're a terrific football team. They're well coached. Um, and they have a great defense. I mean, obviously, Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame's defensive coordinator, came from there, kind of established that as an insane defense. Obviously, Fickle himself is a defensive guy in his own right. So Cincinnati's a really good program. They recruit well for their league, and they're going to continue to be a good football program overall. But in reality, that's a game, especially at home. Notre Dame can't lose, and if they and and like I said, if they start Drew Pine, I think that they win that game, and honestly, maybe fairly easily, probably similar to the outcome, but in reversal, 24-13, 27-13. Maybe Notre Dame gets over that 30-point threshold because they did move the ball significantly better when Drew Pine was in the game. So. And again, yeah, a lot of guys are starting to show that this was our best test of the season. Johnny, exactly, this is the best test of the season. Notre Dame probably could very well finish 11-1 to end the year. And like I mentioned, if their only chance at a college football playoff berth is if they essentially blow out every team remaining. But even then, I think that those are slim to none in regards to their chances, just because of the remaining schedule and kind of the weakness there with a lot of teams down. Wisconsin, you're not gonna get anything there with them being 1-3 now. USC's down with their head coach. Exactly. The Wisconsin win looks worse even now than it did, according to Dependent Fanatic, which we've mentioned a few times already. So yeah, there's really no chance of them making the college football playoff, going 11-1. But all right, we can kind of get into a little bit more of the nitty gritty of this game a little bit. I think overall, it's probably the offensive line's best performance of the year, which is unfortunate considering they lost by 11 points. Still wasn't great. Obviously, now they're essentially down to a fourth string left tackle. You saw Michael Carmody, play today. But then at the same time, he got hurt or wasn't able to finish the game because of the ankle that he's been dealing with. You have Joe Alt come in, who I think is actually probably a little bit better than Tosh Baker, who has been playing over the last few weeks for Michael Carmody and then also for Blake Fisher. But again, offensive line's not great. I think they played a little bit better today. I thought specifically the running lanes opened up a tiny bit at times before it was before it turned into a 17-0 game. And yeah, exactly. So it's still not great, but with the offensive line the way it is, Jack Cohn cannot be the quarterback. You got to go with Drew Pine, and you got to go from there. This is an interesting one by Tyler Jenkins. The better team won. Cincinnati moved the ball all over them in the second half. I don't know if that's the only problem I have with that sort of argument. And like I said, there's nothing to take away from Cincinnati. They played a great game overall, and they won. I think the better team won today. But in reality, the Notre Dame defense had to do so much to keep Notre Dame in this game. It could have very well been 17-0 Notre Dame if Drew Pine starts the game. I full-heartedly believe that. So yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, maybe that sounds like an excuse, but in general, sure, the better team won today, or the better team won. We'll see how the season shakes out if Cincinnati is able to kind of see how Cincinnati's season shakes out, and we'll see how Notre Dame's season shakes out, and we'll go from there. Maybe they'll meet up again in in a play, not a playoff game, but in a bowl game of some sort, or something like that. But in general, I don't know if I can fully agree that the better team won in general, but I think Cincinnati was certainly the better team today overall.